Okay. Okay, so we said yesterday we're on the top of Kuf Tezayin and Aleph, 6 lines down. Yeah. So we were discussing that multiple, if you're over on multiple isurim, if you take if you're not allowed to take as security a grinder, not the top of the grinder, not the bottom of the grinder. So we said that you chayav two. It's machlokes whether you're going to be chayav two lavim or 3 lavim. But one thing is for sure: if you take the top part of the grinder and the bottom part of the grinder, you're chayav on a lav for each one. So now the Gemara continues. It says Tanya Kavasei to Rabbi Yehuda. We have a proof to Rabbi Yehuda. But so what's the proof? Chavel zug
Rabbi Yehuda, not Rabbi Yehuda.
No, you're right. It's Rabbi Yehuda. It's Rabbi Yehuda the Amoira.
Yaakov, that's on you. You called him.
Good. That's what we called him. Yeah. So Tanya Kavasei Rabbi Yehuda, the Rav Yehuda. Chavel zug shel sapara. Somebody took chavel again means if you take that security, he took a pair of scissors. Now, a pair of scissors. The question is a pair of scissors similar to a grinder, right? Because a grinder has the top part and the bottom part. So, what's the story with the scissors?
Why don't they just say misparayim? The Gemara uses the term misparayim. Why don't they just say misparayim? Because he wants to say one half a zug shel safarim. Misparayim is the whole scissors. This is the pair.
Until about 40 years ago, every pair of scissors was detachable.
Maybe more than 40 years. Okay.
Oh, I remember them. The silver ones were detachable. 100%. Whatever I remember when they were detachable.
Oh, so there's a question. I mean, the practical application of this whole shaila is when you're toiveling a scissors, do you have to, a chicken scissors or whatever it is, not regular scissors, it doesn't need, even if you end up using it for food, but a chicken scissors that you're going to use all the time. According to those that hold that would need tefillah, do you have to take it apart or not? Before tefillah. Right? Or a Swiss Army knife, or this, do you have to toivel it open? How do you toivel the scissors? You toivel it open, you toivel it closed.
Saying, why take it apart? You open it. As long as the water gets to whatever part that you're using it.
Maybe it's 2 different kalim.
If you toivel a George Foreman grill, you open it, right?
Do you ever use the
scissor? Do
you ever use the scissor as 2 different kalim?
Right, that's what I'm saying. It's used as a scissor. So why do you take it apart?
Sometimes you use it to open a package. You'll open it and use one end.
But you're using it together. It's still connected. You're never taking it apart.
Good, Enochanami. That's why we do it. That's why we don't have to. But it's part of this whole shaila, right? What about so according to you? So how about a pot with a pot cover? You can toivel it with the pot cover on?
No, then the water's not going to go in.
It's not the same. Sometimes you use it with the cover. Sometimes you use it without a cover. Not the same as a scissor.
No, not even forget using it.
So there are pots.
Pieces.
Naftali, there are pots that have attached covers.
There are pots that have attached covers. You have to open it in order to get the water inside, to touch the inside.
So open it with the water inside. Now cover the pot and toivel it.
Water got inside, and then
yes.
Okay, that may be good. I don't know. You're looking at it. It's not. Okay, I can see it on your face. It's not. But
it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. But okay, this is a shaila that the poskim discuss. Really, it's things that are detachable, that are considered one kli, but they come in multiple pieces. Do those need to be taken apart? Do they not to be taken apart? That's
Isn't the bottom line that you toivel the way it's used?
Yeah, but the poskim, it's not so clear that that's exactly the way you do it.
I have a Rebbe, I remember this from years ago, a Rebbe in Gateshead, so no one has money there. He got a present from someone, a set of leaded crystal goblets. They all had stickers on the stems saying the percentage of lead. And he asked the Shaila, he wanted to keep them on, so every time he uses the glasses, he'll remember the person and have a karsa to the person who gave it to him. But he wanted to use it with the sticker on. He wanted Bedafka to keep the sticker on, to use them. So he asked, and he was told to title them with the sticker on.
Yeah. Saying so, if
the
you
way
want
they
the
use.
sticker, if you want the
Yeah.
sticker there, then it's fine. But that's okay. Anyways, but yeah, but that's really because it's not a.
I
chatzitza,
always want the
people
sticker on when I forget it.
Well, that's the Shiloh. Do you care that it's there or not?
Well, my wife doesn't want it on, but I want it on.
Send her to go take it to the mikveh. Yeah. So, anyways, okay. So, Tanya comes to the review. The chavel zug shall saparim. If he went and he took a zug, that's from the barber. But some meaning he took it as his security because the guy wasn't paying back the loan. The tzamet shel paras or a tzamet shel paras, which is the yoke that goes around the paras. You want to connect as a machloikis, Rashi and Taisus, if it means the yoke around one cow or two cows. Rashi says 2 cows, Taisus doesn't like it. Chayev shtayim. So if you did this, you chayev 2. Why? Because it's considered like 2 separate utensils, right? Meaning each part of the scissors is considered, which l'chayr, according to that, then would require tefillah. It would require you to separate it to do tefillah scaling. That's l'chayr. Anyway, what
Is this lav really just for like really dumb people? The guy's trying to take a collateral so to make sure that the person who owes the money will pay it. So what collateral is he taking? The guy's means of parnasa. He's taking away the possibility of ever getting paid. The stomach that you have to be brain dead to do this. The guy's a miller, so you take away his grindstones, his millstones. So how is he ever going to pay you now? This law is not for people who can think straight. L'chayra.
I don't understand what you're saying.
He's saying, why would you take away the guy's parnasa? He owes you
how?
money. You want him to pay you back. So now you go take away his parnasa. How do you expect him to pay you back?
When you take away a barber's scissors, the only way he'll ever be able to pay you back is if he can do more haircuts.
Well, we know that the regular standard dinim, the regular standard dinim of taking security apply. You got to give it back to him during the day. I don't know if they gave haircuts at night. You're gonna have to give it back to him, right? You're gonna have to give it back. I don't know when this is exactly. Maybe at night you take it from him.
So then what is the law then? The pasuk explains ki nefesh whatever. He's taking away his nefesh,
right?
Ki nefesh uchayvo. But he's not. If he gives it back when he does his haircut.
Well, I'm saying, when and if he does something be'isser, no, then it's going to be a problem. Maybe he's over because maybe he could use that scissors for food purposes. No,
not likely. But even so it's just to add an extra lav or 3 lavim in this case.
I don't know if we're looking to add lavim.
So if you're saying that he can take it, but he has to give it back, or you're saying that he can't take it at all, even at night. So then the reason's fair. It sounds like he can't take it at all.
Yeah.
So how is this ever a security if you're always giving it back? The whole idea is that the guy doesn't pay you, you just have something, but we're always giving it back. That's not a security. He says, I don't have to worry. If I gave the guy a security, whatever, my pliers, and I don't have to worry because I always get to use it.
Whenever I need it, I have to get it back. So I only get to keep it when I don't need it.
Yeah, so I'll never pay the loan back because it doesn't represent any loss of security by me. Because I'm going to get it back whenever I need it.
But that was yesterday's stuff. The Gemara asked that. What's the point of giving it back and forth? We said that, and the Gemara answered because it's really the only reason to do it is so that Shemitah won't be Meshamit, right? Shemitah won't be Meshamit. That was one, and the other one was so that he gets priority by the Yerusha. That's really the only reason. Otherwise, it really doesn't make any sense, right? Now you got a machlokes Rashi and other Rishonim. Rashi says that it's that we're talking about a misparayim that he's using for whatever. It's a scissors for a barber. Other Rishonim says, so what's the problem? Exactly what Gershon's asking, right? What's the problem with it? There's no isser that you're supposed to take, right? Where is it? It's before. There's a Tosfos. Hold on a second. I'm sorry. Tosfos on Kuf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Tosfos on Kuf Yud Gimel Amud Aleph. Rabbeinu Tam there says, Zug Shel Misparayim, V'lo Gersin and Zug Shel Safarim. He doesn't have the girsa of hair cutters. He has the girsa of just the regular scissors used for food preparation. Tosfos Yud Kuf Yud Gimel Aleph is a Machrisha B'Yoyim is the one that says that. Either way, okay, we got to get moving. So again, let's tiny conversation. If he took this as security, scissors from a barber, according to Rashi, according to Tosfos, misparayim zug shel misparayim, betzemot shel paras, or the yoke of cows, which also machlokes Rashi does. Rashi says it's 2 cows. Tosfos says no. Chayiv shtayim is going to be chayiv 2. Zeba atzmai v'zeba atzmai. But let's say he only took one. Right? Let's say he took one end of the scissors and not the other end. He's only chayiv 1. We're not even going to get into. I shouldn't even bring this up. We're not even going to get into how does a electric razor, electric shaver work? Is that both pieces of metal cutting, or is it only one? Right, that can make a big difference whether it's mutter or asr. Okay, shine. Anyways, the Tanya that we learned another brayse, chaval zug shel saparim. If you took a zug shel saparim, but tzamat shel paras. So you think you'd only be chayiv 1 because it's one thing. You should not take a mill or the thing that rides on top of the mill. So they're miyuchad that they're 2 different kalim, but they do one malacha, like the scissors. 2 utensils, they do a malacha. And the same thing with the yoke. The chayiv al zebet me'atzma, you chayiv on each one by itself. Afkol dvarim. So anything shehein shnei kelim miyuchadim v'asim malacha achas, that are 2 kelim miyuchadim that do one malacha, chayiv al zebet me'atzma v'al zebet me'atzma. You chayiv on each one by itself. So therefore, this proves Reb Yehuda that you're going to be chayiv 2, right? But that's it. You mean you chayiv 2 isurim, but you're not chayiv for that 3rd isur of taking. Because none of these brises here say that you're going to be chayiv 3, right? They're only say you chayiv 2. So Mamela, this is a brise is like review. So then Rashi goes through why do you need to bring both 2 brises here? One of them should be enough. Yeah, fine. Okay, Hahu Gavra. The Chaval Sakino, the Shkafte Mechavre. There was a guy who took as a security, a shchita knife. Also, Abaye came in front of Abaye. Amralei said to him, Zil Ahadre, go give it back, because a shchita knife, even though a shchita knife is be'etzem not for food, right? But he's considering it like it's food and you're not allowed to take it. It's a kli that you do oichel nefesh. The talk kum bedina, and then Allah. Now you have to go and you have to make a din. You have to make a din to prove that you taka owed the money. Meaning we can't.
It doesn't seem like it's a khalif. It's from Rashi. It seems like it's a hacker, but that you cut the meat up with. Like what do they call it? It's a hacker, whatever. I don't know.
It would be the same difference as they say in America. Could be either.
Yeah, but But the sheikh doesn't with the knife that he does with shchita, he doesn't use it for chopping up the meat. You're right.
That's a shaila. That's a shaila you're a day, right? Are you even allowed to use the shchita knife? We hold it as treif, no?
Yeah, you're gonna damage the knife.
Is this assuming that the guy only has one knife and doesn't have any other one?
L'chayra, because does a shchita knife need tefillas kelim? Going back to that, does a shchita knife need tefillas kelim? Pashtus not, right? Because it's not a klei achila. But now, so we're saying, 1 second, we're making it into a klei achila.
But aren't we redefining what Eichel Nefesh means? It doesn't mean food. It means his livelihood. We're really saying it's the same as the Milchas Shabbos. Eichel Nefesh doesn't mean food. It means what people need to live on.
Right. Right, but you're saying they wouldn't be using... Oh, you say you want to say... 1 second, so then that answers up your kasha that you had before.
The what?
On Rashi, that it's not a klei achila, so why are they chayiv?
That's not what I was asking.
I thought that's what you asked.
No.
Ah, okay. All right, so then we'll leave it at that. Okay, let's go on. Anyway, so Abaya said not only do you have to give it back to him, you also have to bring Edom now, right? Rava Amar Leitzar Medina. You don't need to go to Din Allah. And you're allowed to taina up to the amount that the knife is worth. You're allowed to say, "Give me the money." Why? Because Rava Lucharis says he has this guy who took the knife came to Bezdin and said, "I took it as security." He could have lied, right? He could have lied and said, "I took this knife because I bought it from him," right? And then he would be Neman. Right, so
who came to Bezdin?
What?
I thought the Leiva came to Bezdin and said, "This guy took my knife. He has to give it back." It's like Sachbo.
Right.
So the din is you have to give it back. And the machlokes here is whether the knife itself is a proof of the love.
No, what do you mean? There was no Edom at all.
No, but the Leiva came to get his knife back. He says, "You stole my parnasa."
But he had the knife. So the chazak
right, he had the knife.
So the chazak was with him.
So Abaye was saying, yeah, the chazak is with him, but Abaye's svara is when the guy said he has my knife. That's not a proof that he had a halva. It's just a proof that he stole his knife.
Right, but he admitted it. But the guy admitted.
We don't know that. We don't know who admitted what.
Sure, we did. What do you mean? He saw Amalei Zilla Hadri.
Yeah, because the guy's tining. He stole my knife. We don't know what the taina is. What's the taina?
The taina is that he stole that he took it as a security. That's why I understood it.
Then what's Abaye? Why would Abaye say you don't have a raya? You have a dos din here. What's the havamini? You make a new din Torah.
Who the loiva? We don't know what the loiva tained. The Abaye is telling the Malvi, even according to your taina, you're not allowed to take it. Even if you're correct that he borrowed money from you, you're not allowed to take it.
Oh, wait. You're understanding that the Malva came to Bezdin?
I don't care who came to Bezdin.
No, if the Loiva came to Bezdin, then L'chayra, he's admitting that there is a halva.
The Loiva came to Bezdin and said, "This guy has my knife." The guy says, "Yes, I do. I took it as security." So Abaye said to him, "So then even if you're correct, you have to give him back the knife."
That's true, but why don't we use the Loiva's taina as a raya that there's a halva?
I don't think the Loiva tained anything. The Loiva just said he has my... Yeah.
Oh, okay, fine. So Abaye looks at it as it could be a Geneva, it could be halva. We don't know what it is.
Right. Meaning it doesn't matter. Correct.
And Rav is saying that, it's a raya, there's a halva, at least up to the value of the knife.
Yes, correct.
Why? What's the raya?
What do you mean? He has a migu, Rava. Rava has a migu.
Why doesn't Abaye have the migu?
That's the Shakavataya going to coming up right now. Why does Abaye say he doesn't have a migu? L'chayri has a migu. I hope this is being clear for the Olam. I hope Olam's not ready to shoot us over here, that we're not getting through this stuff too fast. But anyways, so again, Abai is saying he has to give back the knife, and it doesn't mean that he has proof that this loan is considered a loan. He doesn't. He has to prove it legit. And Rava says, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have to. He has to give back the knife. He doesn't have to prove it because he could have lied much better. If Hitaka wanted to lie and there was really no loan, it's pretty stupid to say that he took it as a security for the loan. It doesn't work, right? He could have just said, what do you mean? I bought the knife from him, right? Okay, so that's the machlokes of Abaye and Rav. So Abaye, Leslie, he's svara, and Abaye doesn't hold it a svara of the migu of Rava. Ma'ishno me'hanu easy da'achli chushla benarta. There were these goats that ate some sort of barley in its klufim. It's barley that was peeled barley, and that meaning the goats went into somebody else's property and ate the barley. And came along the owner of the barley and took the goats because he was mad. These goats came and ate my stuff. Pikatan tuva. But he took a lot of barley. The owner came and he took the goats because he said these goats ate a lot of barley. Avu the Shmuel said, the owner can go and be tying on them up until the amount of the goats, right? Even without any sort of proof that they ate that much. Meaning he's just coming into Besdin and he's saying, oh yeah, I took these guys' goats, and the reason I took their goats is because they ate all my barley without any sort of proof. And we're saying, and Rav is saying he's believed, right? Why? Because he could have lied. He could have just said, these goats, I bought the goats. Right? By him saying that he took it as security, so then he could have lied a lot better. Therefore, we believe him. So how come Abaye doesn't agree to this? Right? So Gemara answers, Hasam la midi da avdela shule laguri. There, goats is not something that people borrow or rent. Right? So therefore, he's believed because nobody lends out. Meaning, what's our svara? Your svara is saying that he could have lied better, but what lie could he have said? Right? He couldn't have said that he borrowed it. He couldn't have said that he rented it. Right? So he could have had this lie. Right? But here this a knife is something that gets lent and rented. The Shalach Rav Huna bar Avin, for Rav Huna bar Avin said, things that normally get rented and borrowed, right? And they say that it's taken in my hand. He's not neman, right? Why? Because it's not. There's no migu. Meaning we have to figure out whether there's a migu here or there's no migu here. So therefore, if it's something that normally gets rented out, so then I hope I'm saying this correctly. Am I saying this clearly? Right. Meaning, if it's something that is not normally rented and borrowed, so then you would have a migu. But here it's not something that normally gets rented and borrowed. Yeah. So therefore, he's not believed to say that he bought it. Meaning it's very easy if somebody can normally rent or borrow something, then it's very easy for him to lie and say, "Oh, it's mine," right? Meaning I bought it. But if it's a place that it's not the norm for him to rent it or to borrow it, then it's not easy. So then it's not the same as meaning he grabbed it. How did he get it into his reshus? Right. So Mamela, he's not going to be never. Right. Again, I'm not very simple. It's clearly not very simple. But basically, the Yesod is like this. If it's something that normally rented and borrowed, so then we're not going to believe him that he bought it because it's very easily could have gotten into his hands. So anytime you're going to have a fight with somebody over, he rented it, he borrowed it, it's mine, the guy could just say, oh, I don't know, I bought it, right? And it could very easily get around it. So, but if something that's not normally rented or borrowed, so how did this thing get into his hands? So he has a legitimate chance of being believed that he bought it, right? And yet he said that he took it as security, so therefore he is believed because he has that type of migu. Okay, so then the Gemara goes the other way around. For Rava, Leslie high svara, and Rava doesn't have the svara, but Rava apik zuga de sarvala. Rava took a pair of scissors from a sarvala, from a what do you call tailor? Yeah, the Safra de Agadata, and he also took a Sefer of Agadata Svarim that weren't so common to be used. Yasmi, so he took them, he collected them from Yisaimim, meaning the Yisaimim Yashin these things, right? And but there was no proof to anything, so Rabba took it away from them. Why did he take it away from him? Because since these things are normally lent out and rented, I guess scissors from tailors get rented normally, right? And they're denying it, so therefore they are allowed to. And I'm saying they're not allowed to. They have no migu. They have no migu because we don't believe them. Meaning they could have said, these guys could have said, oh, it's ours, and we bought it from him. Right? But since these things normally get rented out, so we don't believe him. So how come Rava didn't say something like that? So Rava said, no, hi nami, even the mifkava, since it's possible that it become pogum, since the knife can become pogum, kapti inchi v'loy moshli. People are makbid, and they don't lend it out. So therefore they don't. There's no migu because people don't normally lend out these type of things. Yeah, fine, okay. Hadron Allah Hamakabel. L'chaim for all those.
L'chaim.
Oh, Jesse's back. L'chaim, Jesse. Paris L'chaim.
Get off my bench.
Can't hear you, but all right. Okay, last parak. Yeah, on Toma base. So now this parak is about landlord, also landlord tenant issues. And the first thing we have is a 2-story house. Oh, there's one Taisus that I forgot. I'm sorry. Taisus that one liner. Don't worry. It says Kalim Shaisen Bem Eichel Nefesh. So Rash he says Nira Lari Daf Kalim Aval Eichlim Atzman Mutter Lachbol. Food itself you're allowed to. Right? Food itself is allowed. Right? So that's
L'chayra is the biggest raya that Eichel Nefesh does not mean anything to do with food.
That's l'chayra. That's a proof to what you're saying, 100%, right? But it's interesting because what is the pshat? I mean, it's based on him eating. That's what we said in yesterday's daf.
What's that thing? I can't take his food, right?
You can't take his food. It wasn't the whole point.
I can't take his brisket as a mashkan.
No, you could take his food.
I can take his brisket as a mashkan.
You can take his food. You can't take his kalim to create.
He doesn't make money with his brisket. He makes money with his scissors.
So that's what. So Gershon.
But I'm saying, but I can't eat it because I got to give it back, right?
So taking my briskets would be Eichel Nefesh.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that he can't take them and keep them anyway because they'll get ruined. That would be Geneva. So he's going to have to give them back in time for the guy to be able to use them the way you anyway would. So essentially it's saying it's pointless to take food because you're going to have to give them back 30 seconds later. So you did nothing for yourself. So hey, go take them.
No, but the Gemara's mashma. No, what you and Ben are saying, and I think you're correct. It's clear that it has nothing to do has to do with parnasa. But the Gemara, I don't think two blot ago when it brought the pasuk wasn't mashma like that. Right? It was mashma that he needs it to eat. I think. Either way. Okay, let's go. It's late. I'm sorry for the yeah. So zog the Mishnah. Abaye is for aliyah shel shnayim. If you have a house and an aliyah that belong to two people, shenaflu when it fell down, right? So Rashi says, what's the example? Two brothers yarshin the house, right? One yarshin the upstairs and one yarshin the downstairs. So now it fell down. So shneim cholken be'etzim. So now the house fell down. So shneim cholken be'etzim uva'avonim uva'ofer. So now each one, because back then it wasn't like our society, and they actually reused things. So they both split the wood and the stones and the dirt. And we try and figure out which stones from which floor were the ones that were going to be broken. We'll see more in the Gemara. Meaning you find stones that are further away, so that the chayra comes from the top floor, and you have stones that are in the bottom. So then maybe that stayed there. We're going to see in the Gemara. But anyway, so you try and figure out which ones belong to which. If one of them recognizes some of the stones, then Nightland he could take them. Which again, the Gemara is going to go through exactly how you split that up. Right? And it goes in his cheshbon. Meaning, so if a guy, let's say the upstairs guy says, I know from not falling asleep at night that I counted the bricks in my room, right, one after the other. So I recognize these bricks; they're from mine. They're mine. So we say, okay, because one day you get it, but it counts as the cheshbon, which again we'll see in the Gemara. So really, the Mishnah is saying three different dinim. If the house collapses, then they split the wood and the stones and the dirt. But if we seem to say, if we're able to estimate that some stones belong to the upstairs and some stones belong to the downstairs, and then each one of them gets it. And if one of them, either the upstairs guy or the downstairs guy, recognizes the stones, and he gets to keep it, but it goes into his regular calculations. Okay, so the Gemara asks, Ryan, when you said that Ryan, we try and look and see who gets which stones, Mechlal, the eagle of Mega Malayu. That means it's talking about where a person could know which stones are his. So the Gemara says, Ibechavsa Nafil, if the wall fell from how do you call it when it falls within? Implodes.
Just collapses.
It collapses. Okay. Meaning it just went straight down. Or Ibechavta Nafil. Or it fell from being pushed. So that means it fell sideways. Meaning either it fell down in this way or it fell sideways. So ihachi, so meaning basically you can call experts in, and they can try and figure out how this house fell down, right? Ihachi, if that's the case, then Reisha, my cholkin said in the Reisha, the first line of the Mishnah says, again, the first line of the Mishnah says you split it. Second line of the Mishnah says we try and figure out which stones belong to which floor, right? So the Gemara says, if that's the case, then why are they splitting it in the Reisha? Nefsi ibechavta nafil. Why don't we see if it fell down by being pushed sideways? So then aliyasa is full. Then l'chayra, if it went sideways, so the first floor stones didn't fall too far, so the l'chayra didn't break. It's the upstairs that fell that way, so then it broke. And ibechavta nafil. But if it fell imploded, so then tasyasa is full. Then the chayra, the bottom floor. I'm no how do you call it, architect or whatever you want to call these guys, but demolition person. But if it fell down, so then the first floor broke first. So therefore, those were the broken brickstone. So meaning, so the Gemara is asking, it's a stira from the Reisha, from the first line of the Mishnah to the second line of the Mishnah. So our answer is like Tzricha, the Nafa Belelia, talking about where it fell at night. So nobody has any idea how it fell down. Okay, so we'll check in the morning. I guess you could have forensic. That's the word I'm looking for. Forensic experts who could figure out how it fell. So we say the Peninu. By the time the morning came along, they already moved it all out. Okay. So let's go find who moved it out. We'll ask him. The Peninu B'nei Rishus Harabim, people walking by the B'nei Rishus Harabim did it for Azul Alma, and they went out to the world. Okay. Why don't we see whose Rishus it's in? Meaning, the Chayra, they also had a split in the yard. Right? So why don't we see in which yard, whose property it fell in? Right? If meaning we know that anybody who's in possession of whatever the item is, the burden of proof is on the other person. So why don't we just see whose part of the yard it's in? So what answer is it's talking about where it fell into both of their chatzeros. Inami b'rishus harabim, or it fell into the rishus harabim. So there's no much to mecher al varayim. Shutfin in this case, where one has the upstairs. Again, Rashi is saying that this situation happened because they were brothers who yashid it. So in that situation, they are going to be sharing the yard too. So therefore, none of these eitzes work. So since none of these eitzes work, therefore we just split it. So it comes out from this Gemara that really be'etzem we try and figure out whose rocks belong to who and where did it fall. And we do forensic experts. We try to bring in the forensics and all that type of stuff. But if all else fails, then we're going to split it. Okay, so then we said if one of them recognizes the stones. So when it says and what's the other guy tiny? Meaning one guy says these stones look like mine. And the other guy, so what's the other guy saying to him? Idaka Amar in. If he says yes, I'm asking, so pshita, of course he gets his stone. Meaning the upstairs guy says, I recognize these stones are yours. And the downstairs guy says, yeah, they're taka yours. So what's the shaila? Of course he gets it. Vilo Amar in, but if he doesn't say in, Lama Naita, why should he take it? Don't you have to prove? You can't just say, oh, these are mine. You have to prove it. One answers Eladomarle, any ideas. It's talking about what he didn't know. He says, the upstairs guy says, I'm telling you, these are my stones. And the other guy says, I have no idea. So then we're saying there that then the upstairs guy is allowed to keep it. So let's say this is going to be a slug up. This is going to slug up Rav Nachman the Itmar, because we learned Manali b'yadcha. The guy says, there's 100 of mine in your hand. The other guy says, he just says he doesn't know. Again, this is not Maidim and Miktas like we had way back at the beginning. Because Maidim and Miktas normally you chayiv a shua. A guy says, you owe me $100. The other guy says, I owe you 50. I don't owe you the other 50. So he makes a shua. That's a din in the Torah. Here he's not saying that. We had this not that long ago. Right? Here he's not saying that. He's saying, I owe you 100. You owe me 100. And he's saying, I owe you 50. The other 50, I have no recollection. He can't make a shvua. You can't make a shvua on something you don't know. Right? So what do you do with this guy? So it's a machlokes Rav Huna and Rav Huna and Rav Yehuda and Rav Nachman Rav Yochanan. Rav Huna Rav Yehuda Amri Chayev. They say Chayev. Rav Nachman Rav Yochanan Amri Potter. They say is Potter. Right? So if that's the case, so then this is a kasha. Our mission is a kasha Rav Nachman Rav Yochanan who say Potter. Right? Because we say that he's not potter, he's got to let the guy have the rocks or the stones. Right? Again, our Mishnah says if the guy says these stones are mine, and the other guy says I don't know, then he gets to keep it. But why should he get to keep it? According to Rav Nachman Rav Yochanan, he's potter. So my answer to that, Rav Nachman got sheyesh asik shvua beinein. There's an asik shvua between them. Achanami here too, sheyesh asik shvua beinein. There's an asik of a shvua between them. What does this mean? Asik shvua. What does it mean? There's a asik meaning there's a tumult about a swearing. Right? Kid the Rava, like Rava. A guy says, I have a money in my hand, in your hand. Because I have 100, meaning you owe me 100. And the other guy says, I only have 50. Vashar and the rest I don't know. Since he can't swear, he has to pay. Right? So l'chayra here's going on. Here's the same thing. I guess some of the stones he denies, and some of the stones he says I don't know. So therefore, that's why the guy gets to keep it, because there's an asik shvua in between them. Okay. Fine. And we say that the stones go with the cheshbon. Right. So Sava Rava Lemema, Rava thought to say lefi cheshbon shvuras. It goes according to the broken stones. Meaning, let's say there were 100 stones that fell down. Each one is supposed to split it, right? But now this guy claims that he recognizes the whole stones. So does he get those and then they split it, or not? So Rav is saying he gets it for the broken stones. Meaning, if he was supposed to get 50 broken stones and he recognizes 20 that are whole, so then he gets 20 whole stones instead of broken stones. Right? So the Gemara is saying if that's the case, then the other guy who says he doesn't know, right fei, or even the same guy when he says he doesn't know, right fei, it's going to be worse for him. Right? Meaning, right now, if neither one of them says they recognize any stones, they're going to split it right down the middle. But if one guy says that he does recognize the stones, so then he's going to get more stones. He's not going to end up with more stones, but he's going to end up with better stones. He's going to end up with the whole stones. So we're saying, so if that's the case, then somebody who says, I don't know, is worse off. So Abaye says, Fakir, Adarab, Ha Rei Tfei. Somebody who says he doesn't know, I'm sorry, the guy who says he does know is in a worse place. Why? Because since he knew some stones, Tfei, Lo Yada, but he doesn't know any more, meaning he clearly has some sort of knowledge of stones. So he says that if he says the good ones he has, but he doesn't, meaning the regular stones he recognizes, Tfei, Lo Yada, but more than that, he doesn't know, Su Lesle. Right? So then we could say, okay, that's it. If you're a guy that's such a bucky in stones, and you recognize these stones, you get to keep it. More than that, you don't get to keep. So meaning you shouldn't keep any more than that. Then all the rest of the stones should go to this guy, because if you knew that these stones were yours, you'd be able to recognize it. That's a very interesting way of looking at this. Again, Rav is saying he gets it according to the cheshbon. So the Gemara says if that's the case, then somebody who doesn't know is worse off. Right? And Abaya is saying fakert. If a guy recognizes the stones, so then he should only be able to keep the stones he recognizes, and the ones he doesn't recognize, he shouldn't keep. So Elam Abaya. So Abaya says, so that can't be. So that's to be lefi cheshbon shleimus. It goes towards his cheshbon of shleimus, meaning if he recognizes some of the stones, so then he is able to keep those stones. But that's it. He doesn't have to split anything with anybody else. So when it says so what does it help? Are you saying that if he gets stones, then if he recognizes stones and those are the only stones that he gets to keep, meaning not the only stones, he gets to keep that as part of his chelik of the stone, so then what do we have here? So when it answers it's talking about where the stones were a little wider than the other stones. Since these stones were a little wider, so there is an advantage to him keeping it, even though he won't get any more stones, but the stones that he's getting are going to be more substantial. Inami tina demava, or he recognizes the tina, the mud that the stones were made out of. I guess he recognizes the better stones that he used, and therefore he's allowed to keep that. So Abaye is saying that there's the only advantage is he can get better stones. Right? Yeah. Fine. Okay. So
why does there need to be any advantage?
What?
Why does there need to be any advantage? The only reason we said yachloiku is because there's no way to tell whose is whose. Now we have a way to tell with these three bricks. We know whose they are. So why can't the Mishnah be telling us Allah? The reason for yachloiku is because we don't know. So if there were 1,000 bricks, he recognizes 3 of them. Now we have 997 bricks that we don't know. There should still be a yachloiku on those bricks. It's like the Mishnah knows. There's no yachloiku on those bricks completely, because 3 of them he knew. So those are Eilos Leiman HaChashbon.
Again?
Why does anyone have to gate? Why does there have to be a revacha to anyone here? Why can't it be a simple din of a Mishnah? The Mishnah says that since no one knows whose is who, the halach is yachloik. Now we have 3 bricks, let's say, that he knows they're his, so he takes them.
Yes.
So I have 997 bricks left that I don't know who's a who. So we should say yachloiku on those, and even yachloiku. So the top guy who took the 3 will gain. It's like the Mishnah, no, he can't gain. They get an even amount of bricks.
Are you asking Abai or Rav?
What's the Gemara is saying? There has to be a gain here. Why does there have to be any gain?
No, because otherwise, what's the Mishnah saying? That we believe him that he recognizes the stones. Well, so what?
So why can't the Gemara have a simple answer? That's not what the Chiddush of the Mishnah is. The Chiddush of the Mishnah is that the Yachloiku remains the same Yachloiku it was before he took the bricks. There isn't a Yachloiku now on the rest of the bricks because we don't know. But then if Yachloiku was because we don't know which are whose.
You want to say it's changing the lumdus of why we're splitting it?
Well, it's not really changing the lumdus, but it's changing the outcome. Let's say there's 1,000 bricks. This guy recognizes 100 of them. Before he recognized them, each would get 500. Right? Now that he recognizes them, he's taken 100, and we should still have a yachloiku on the 900. So they should get 450 each. He would end up with 550. The other guy would end up with 450. That's not a real yachloiku. Like the Mishnah, no. You're saying
it's a real yachloiku?
It's a complete yachloiku from the beginning, not excluding those that he knows.
Why wouldn't you include the ones that he knows? Why don't you include that in his cheshbon? Like you say, 1,000, he recognizes 100. So fine, he recognizes 100. So of the 900, 400 would be for him, and 500 would be the other guy. And just as that 100, we have a raya whose it is, and that's all.
Because why do we say yachloiku?
Because of 5 minutes.
The challenge, the problem not because then it's not. In the end, this guy has 400. This guy has 400, and that guy has 600. That's not exactly fair.
All right.
The reason for the yachloiku remains.
So we got mincha 5 minutes, so we got to finish up. We can stay on a little later to argue it out. Zog the Mishnah, yeah. Habayis va'aliyah. So now you have a house and an upstairs. Nifchasa aliyah. Here the aliyah fell down, not the downstairs stayed intact. The upstairs fell apart. Vein balabayis, right? So let's talk. The balabayis doesn't want to fix it, meaning it sounds like the landlord is in the first floor and he rented out the top floor. Right? And the balabayis doesn't want to.
What else is new? He doesn't want to fix it.
Correct. Standard stuff, right? So Hare Bala, but here we don't paskin like this. If we paskin this way in the United States, and maybe things would get fixed faster, Ben. Hare Bala Aliyah, Yard B'Dar Lamata. He's moving in. He is moving in with the
Moscow 100%. 100% Moscow.
Right. Yeah, that's the way it goes. Yeah. So Hare Balabayas, right? So the Balabayas can the Hare Balaliyah Yard B'Dar Lamata. Achi Yiskan Loy Es Aliyah until he fixes the upstairs. Rabbi Yossi Yomer Hatachton Noisin Es Atikra. So how do you? Rabbi Yossi says no. He doesn't have to fix it totally. He has to give the roof, which is the floor of the second floor, his own roof, and the floor of the second floor. Va'elyon as a maziva, and the upper guy has the upstairs guy has to use the what do you call it? The not the tar. He has to finish it. I said l'chayra. This mission is talking about a landlord. Right? Would that change? Would this didn't change for shutfim?
It's plaster is what the word you were talking about.
What was I looking for?
Not tar, plaster.
Plaster. I said tar, yeah, plaster. Yeah. So the Gemara. Okay, but meaning would this apply? Would these same dinim apply to regular partnerships or not? Maybe we'll see in the Gemara. So nifchasa bekama. How much fell? How much of the roof fell in? Rav Amar Beruba. There had to be Roiv if it fell in. Shmuel Amar no, Ba'arba. Even just 4 tfachim. Arba is not amas. With a hey at the end, it means it's tfach. Right, 4 tfach. Right, what about 12 inches? Rav Amar Baruba. Rav says it's roiv, Arba loy, but with 4 tfachim, no. Right? Because why? Adam dor chetzi lamata v'chetzi lamala. If it's only 4 tvachim, so then he could live half upstairs because he has a hole in the floor of 4 tvachim. I mean, it's hard to understand this concept, but he has a hole in the floor of the 4 tvachim. Good. So he'll live partially upstairs, and the section of the 4 tvachim that he needs, so that he'll go downstairs and use the downstairs for that, right? And v'chetzi lamala, so he'll live half upstairs, half downstairs. Shul amar ba'arba, it's with 4. Ain't adam dar chetzi lamata v'chetzi lamala. Nobody likes to live split between the first floor and the second floor. They want to have a regular, normal place to live. Okay, so Hechi Dami, what's the case? Ida Amar.
I mean, don't we all have 2-floor houses or 3-floor houses now? What does that mean?
Yes, I wonder if the Metzia has changed according to this. Maybe the Metzia has changed. No,
I don't know. Up here is a bungalow haven up here, and bungalows are typically just a 1 floor. So.
Unless it means half up and down when you don't own downstairs, someone else is living there. In our case,
what?
So in our case, there's somebody else living downstairs, not your house. So Rob says, put your couch in your downstairs neighbor's house. And Shmuel says, no, we don't do that.
So
I don't know, is that the same as just having 2 stories? I don't know, maybe it is, but I think the Mishnah is different.
I hear. Okay, so I'm not sure how it goes. Let's just finish up this next question. Gemara says, hey, then what's the case? If he says, I'm renting you this upstairs, so Azda went away. So of course he has to let him in downstairs. He rented him something that he can't maintain. Or it must be that he said to him, Aliyah Stam. Must be he said, I'm renting you an upstairs. So let the landlord say, I'll go rent you a different apartment. So Amarava, so what's the case? This aliyah that I'm renting to you, kisalka salik ba'ado, when it goes, when it gets built, then, or when it, as long as it's in existence, salka ba'ado, you're gonna go, you can live in it. When it goes down, then you're also going down. Meaning he's basically renting him the upstairs for long enough. He's renting him the upstairs for long enough that, meaning for the time that the thing is in existence. If it's in existence for I don't know, a year, that's it. Once it busts, it busts. So Ihachi might remember. So then what's the question? He told him, I'm only renting you the upstairs. I'm only renting you the upstairs for as long as it exists. And now it doesn't exist anymore. So Ravashi, the Amrale, Aliyah Zu, Shal Gabi, Bayezeh, the Aliyah that's on top of this house, Ani Maskaloch, I'm going to rent to you. The Hashabit based Labayez Lali, who was Mashabit his house to the Aliyah. All right, so again, Aliyah Zu Shal Gabi Bayezeh, the upstairs that's on top of this house, I'm renting to you. Which is
that means you're not fixing it?
No, he is fixing it, but it's directly connected to the downstairs. Right? Meaning he's basically saying the aliyah that's on top of this downstairs, on top of this first floor is yours, and mashma that if I can't provide that, then you get the first floor. Was a story where the guy said to his friend, I'm selling you this vine that's on top of this peach tree. And then the peach tree got uprooted. And the story came from Rav. You got to put him up a new peach tree because you lent him or rented him or sold him a vine on top of a peach tree, and now you pulled out your peach tree. So therefore, you're not agreeing to the terms. Kolzman shahad hidlis kayam. As long as the vine is in existence, you can you have to provide him with the tree, because that's the way was the terminology that you used in your rental. I'm renting you a vine on top of a peach tree. Now your peach tree's gone, so now you got to provide him back with a peach tree. Yeah. Okay, we'll stop over there because I guess we lost some of them anyways for the minute.